What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron. And I got a special guest with me today, my man, Sean Mondell, a.k.a. Mondo. Mondo, say hi to the people.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight?
So, we got my man Mondo's an avid Brooklyn Nets fan. So, we're going to talk a lot about his Brooklyn Nets. They made a couple moves this offseason. I don't think anyone's ever has heard about that. A couple, low-key moves, nothing crazy. But before we get into that, let's get into the league, the association, what's going on. Who's your most surprising team right now, and who's your most disappointing team right now?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me. No doubt. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure talking to you on the pod, and you came a long way from a thought to something that became reality. So kudos to you, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But to get right to it, most surprising, I'm gonna go with, believe it or not, out of the Western Conference, it's gonna be the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
And being led by John Morant, my man. Yeah.
He's been ridiculous of late. He's been absolutely insane. It's crazy how his development has been this quick, and he's he might be an all-star.
Right.
He might make the all-star team as a rookie.
He's on a tear, man. And honestly, he has that drive and the chip on his shoulder. Like, I don't know if I saw the highlights last night, and he was just in the zone when they played Houston.
He was making guys look like he was making them look silly.
Yeah.
Stupid. And as a rookie, it's ridiculous. Like, he's amazing. And to think he went to he went to a small school. Where'd he go to again? Murray State, and he was a sophomore. So that means, because I didn't really hear much of him as a freshman, and this is a guy who was a teammate with Zion and playing AAU ball. And
AAU ball. Can you imagine walking to a gym?
Yeah. And to think, I remember Zion was talking with JJ Redick on his podcast, and he was saying that they were like role players. Imagine those two being role players, at 16 years old, and then 3 years later they're the first two picks of the draft.
A hell of a story.
Yeah, there's a lot of big time college teams that are wondering, how the hell did we miss that? How do we miss John Morant?
Man. Got to be kicking yourself, right?
Like Murray, he went to Murray State. Like, no offense to Murray State, but that's not exactly North Carolina or Duke or Kansas, Kentucky. That's a big miss for a lot of people, because he's probably the rookie of the year right now, no doubt.
Oh, I'm gonna concur with that. Of course.
There's just no. Yeah, he's a runaway rookie of the year right now.
Yeah, and whatever happens with Zion, he comes back. I don't think he's going to be able to.
Nah, there's nothing Zion can do. There's nothing Zion can do in order to win Rookie of the Year, unless John Morant, God forbid, gets hurt or anything.
Correct.
And Zion averages 25 and 12. Shooting 70%, but that's not likely going to happen. So.
Correct.
He's been an absolute. But yeah, Memphis has been a surprise.
Big time.
They've been playing better.
And not just him. I'm gonna mention his running mate that was in the draft also, Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark's another good. They drafted really well last few years.
They really did.
They
really did.
Jaren Jackson last year, right? Jaren Jackson.
Yes. Michigan State product, yes.
They're building a really good foundation there. They got some pieces.
Yeah, and they got that high energy Oregon Duck, Dylan Brooks off the bench.
Dylan Brooks. He's been solid this year too. So they have the foundation to be special.
For sure.
Obviously injuries. You never know with injuries. But if we're taking that away, they have a special team. They really do. So they can do some special things.
Who knows?
Yeah. So who else in the West has surprised you, good or bad? Portland.
surprising.
What about Portland? Like Portland,
Oh,
they
I
started
was
off
high on
bad.
them coming in.
Yeah, I knew they wouldn't be as good. Obviously, I didn't think they'd go back to the conference finals because they had a lot of breaks last year. A lot of things went their way, and I didn't think that would happen again. But I didn't think they'd be. Well, I think they're under 500, right? They're still playing on the 500.
They are. They are definitely.
That's disappointing. I mean, I didn't think they'd be a top 3 seed, but I think we all expected them to be in the playoffs at least. Right now.
Yeah, I for sure did.
They're 18-24. I mean, they're only a game and a half back of Memphis, but it's still, you would think they'd be in that Dallas, Houston, like 25, 26 wins, and they're disappointing, very disappointing.
Very much so. I had them in, believe it or not, before the season. I thought they were going to be a top 4 or 5 seed in the West, believe it or not. I thought the trade for Hassan Whiteside was going to be huge for them. I thought Dame and CJ were in that groove. They figured it out, and here we are.
Do you think they plateaued? You think that they've reached as good? You think last year was as good as it can get with this nucleus?
With Dame and CJ?
With Dame, CJ, and all these guys, I know Nurkic was out, but Cantor played well last year in the playoffs for them.
He did. He's huge body. I think this is the last of CJ and Dame together this season.
Yeah, I honestly think one of them's gonna get. More likely CJ, but to me, Dame, he's gonna be, I think, 29 years old, and he's not that he's getting.
That was quick, huh?
He's still complete. He can still play. Obviously, he's one of the best players in the league. But
of course,
I think he's going to get to that point in his career where he's going to be like, as loyal as I am to Portland, how much, I can't do this. We might not even make the playoffs this year.
It happens. It happens to all of them, right? It happens. They just,
I know he's loyal, but eventually he's going to have to look and be like, I don't have too many, years where I don't want to waste too many years. I want to be playing competitive basketball in the playoffs when it matters, because he's a big time player in the playoffs. He's shown it. He's hit some some of the greatest shots we've ever seen. Last year, man. Game 5.
Yep.
It's a Thunder. He did against the Rockets a few years ago. So he's a big time player. So how much longer can he take? So that's going to be one of the biggest things for this offseason. I think he's going to be one of the big names that might get dealt. It's all up to him, obviously, because I don't know if he has a no trade clause. I'm pretty sure he does, since he signed a max. He probably has. I have to look into that, but that's one of the big things I'm gonna look into this offseason is if they're looking for a rebuild. If they get rid of him, because I think McCollum can possibly get dealt the deadline. I could see that happening.
Yes, if they get blown away, I could see CJ going in a quick second.
And honestly, if they trade CJ, that means they're thinking about the rebuild, right? I mean, it's kind of makes sense.
It kind of makes sense.
Unless you're getting another star type player in return, but if you're getting picks and a young player, that kind of means rebuild.
It's time. Yeah, I agree. And they want to keep Dame to just
because right now they're in the middle, and in the NBA, you don't really want to be in the middle. You either want to be, in the bottom and tanking and trying to get, top pick, or you want to be upper echelon. If you're in the middle, you're going to get stuck in the middle, and then you don't know whether you're going to be a buyer or a seller at the deadline. So it's kind of in the middle. You really don't want to be in the middle. You want to be, you want to know what direction. Are we going to a playoff push? Are we trying to win a championship, or are we going to, rebuild,
knock this thing down and build it? Of course. And being in the middle is the worst, like you said.
Being in the middle is like, there's a few teams that are in that, but they're probably the team, the number one team that's in the middle that they don't know, should we go for it and try to make the playoffs and be an 8 seed and get bounced by the Lakers in the first round, or so that's an interesting dynamic to see for the rest of the season and for next season. But let's go to the East. Who's your most, surprising and most disappointing team in the East?
Surprising? I'm gonna have to say the Raptors are the most surprising without Kawhi.
I agree. I didn't have them making the playoffs.
Me neither.
I didn't
at
have
all.
Them. I thought they'd be like
they
500. They battle for 500.
At best, right?
I didn't think they'd be the 26 wins and be the fourth. You could be a top 2 seed possibly.
Shocking, and yeah. I'm not the best supporter of the Raptors just because I never have been. I never had to be because of the Atlantic Division that I'm a fan of. I don't want the Raptors to win at all.
No, but, obviously, yeah.
But those guys can play. And credit to Nick Nurse because I don't know how he's getting those guys to rally and play. They're young. Credit. They got good guys. They got good veterans.
Yeah. Siakam's stepped up his game. He's an all-star, right? He's definitely an all-star.
I don't think he's going to get the fan vote. I think he's going to get the coach.
Yeah, he'll get in with the coaches because because they're going to need a guy to represent the Raptors, and they're winning. You got to have a player from especially his numbers are good. He'll be an all-star for sure by the coaches.
Yeah, I don't know about Kyle Lowry though this year.
No. Kyle's had enough all-stars. He's made enough all-stars and stuff. He's
by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah. I've always debated he's been an all-star in the East, but I look at Mike Conley, who's put up similar numbers and has never made an all-star team. And when you look, and what sucks is when their careers are over, you're gonna obviously look at Kyle and he's gonna be a 5-6 time all-star, and you look at Conley.
Yeah.
He's never going to be – but they're kind of – they're both kind of the same player. I mean, I think Conley's better. I would personally take Conley over him. But since he does – but that's when people say, oh, all-stars don't matter. It's yeah, it does at the end because that might get Kyle Lowry to the Hall of Fame, and winning a championship, of course.
Right.
Yeah. But Conley has never made an all-star team. Probably is not going to make it this year either because, in the West, you have to be, all the guards in the West, it's impossible to make it, even though he should have made it in years past when he was in Memphis. He's had some good years, but he hasn't been not as sexy as, Westbrook or Steph and Dame and guards, Chris Paul. But I don't think he that's a little side, but Conley I think doesn't get enough love. I've always had that argument, him with Kyle Lowry. I was I Conley can ball too, but I digress. But Toronto, surprising. Even Miami, I didn't think
Miami.
I didn't think they'd be this good. I thought them at an 8-7 seed.
Yeah, me too.
More because of the culture, more because of Pat Riley and Spoelstra. That was my thing. Yeah. Because just the culture,
yes, I agree.
Tremendous. They might have the best culture. As far as develop, no matter who they have on the team, they're always gonna have a competitive team, no matter what.
Absolutely right, and they always do.
Yeah, they're always
anytime that Miami team's on a schedule, no matter what year it is, you look at their roster, you're we could possibly lose this game today.
Yeah, and they're always competing. They're always at least even with Dwayne Wade's final years and not being the same player.
Yeah.
Even when LeBron first left, they were still a bottom of the team, bottom playoff team, bottom 8 seed, 8, 7, 6 seed,
Yeah, so and what they know how to draft well also.
Player development, man. How many times have I talked about, if you have good player development and you know how to get these guys, these G League guys. I mean, they got none. That dude, none. They got him. He was a free agent. Dude, and boom, he's balled out. Yep.
And I can't say enough about Bam and
Bam might be an all-star. He might be an all-star.
Huge player right there.
Yeah, Pat Riley knows what he's doing down there, so it's not shocking.
He fell in the draft too.
Yeah, he's there. And,
unreal.
And they got to steal because he could ball, and Tyler Hero, he's a bucket. They just it's player development, and we've talked about that on countless times. How if you know how to develop your players, no matter where you get them in end of the first round, first pick, second round. Doesn't matter, free agent. If you know how to develop good players, you're going to get good players.
Yeah.
And Miami's been doing it forever. So.
Excuse me.
But who's the most disappointing in the East?
I want to say my team, but I can't because of certain things that we're going to get to. But I didn't expect the Hawks to be this bad.
I don't think there's a surprise. I'm looking right now at the standings, and all the teams that are not in the playoffs. I'm not surprised they're not in the playoffs, but the fact that Atlanta's this bad, that's a little surprising.
Yes.
I didn't think they'd be
very
bad. 9-32 to be worse than the Knicks. And be worse than and have the same record as the Warriors, who've literally lost every single player possible.
Correct.
In a period of time. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they have a college that they drafted well also.
And I thought they drafted well. I thought they drafted well with Cam Reddish and Hunter. Hunter won a national championship.
Yep. Yeah.
And Cam Reddish and drafting Trae Young last year. And they have
John
Collins. But it just felt like, once he got suspended, it was like it kind of went downhill after that. They haven't played, So that's probably surprising. Not that they're not in the playoffs, but that fact that they're just the worst team in the league. I don't think anyone that they were a league pass team. Like that was a team I gotta watch them play because they got guys who could score and they're gonna be exciting. You probably figured they'd be where like Chicago is like 15-27. That would be like more of what thing.
Yeah.
Not 9-30. 9-32 that's just god awful. It's a
double take at the newspaper.
Yeah, and I know they've been dabbling in like trade talks or like with Drummond, but then I heard that they're off with the Drummond and they're trying to get Steven Adams in Oklahoma City. Another surprising team, Oklahoma City.
Oh man, I can't say enough about them either.
But I think they're gonna sell. I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm hearing that Oklahoma City they're gonna be sellers. I don't know why. I would just go for it and just see what happens in the playoffs. Have a competitive team, but I don't know what they're gonna do with CP3 and because they got Shea Gildress and he's had a 20-20 triple double. That doesn't happen a lot. That's crazy.
And we've texted personally on the side about him, and
I know the Clippers, and we know the Clippers. I know they got their guys. They got Paul George, but I know Doc Rivers is. I know I've heard him say that hurt trading him.
Oh yeah,
that hurt. But they had to do it. I get it. They had to do it, but if they could have somehow kept him, imagine.
Oh man,
that wouldn't be fair.
Man.
But
they'd be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the Clippers are gonna eventually, they're gonna be there, even though they struggled a little bit late. But
I agree.
Yeah, the Atlanta surprising Atlanta. But everyone else in the East, like it kind of feels like they are like Cavaliers, Wizards, all those teams.
Yeah, those teams kind of met the standard. Who else?
I'm gonna give. Yeah. I know it's crazy, but Milwaukee. I didn't think they'd be the best team in the league. I thought they would fall back a little bit.
I did not see it happening at all.
I
thought they were gonna regress.
Yeah, I thought they would regress a little bit. I didn't think they'd be, leading the NBA in scoring and just dominating.
Yeah. With how Brock
Giannis getting better. I mean, everyone's always said if Giannis can develop a 3-point shot that he could be the most dominant player. And I'm like, I don't know if he can. He didn't show it last year in the playoffs. He just drove and just dunked on it. And then, Toronto kind of like had the blueprint on how to stop him. And he got better. A guy who won the MVP last year got better. I mean, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen at all,
Yeah, right.
And the fact that he's got to jump. So now, how do you guard him? How do you guard a guy that, all right, you would let, you just protect the paint and don't let him drive. But now he could shoot. So now you have to protect the 3-point line. But all he could do is drive past you and dunk on anyone you have. It doesn't matter who you have. You can have Rudy Gobert and he's going to slam on them,
Yeah.
Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, it don't matter.
Right.
It's crazy. He's gotten better. You think he's the MVP? You think he's your front runner?
Yeah. I mean, who else? I don't.
I mean, you probably got AD and Braun.
Sure. But you know what? With them though, it's funny because
they're gonna cancel each other out for MVP. That's what's gonna hurt both of them. Because that's
exactly.
usually what happened. We saw that in with the Warriors with KD and Steph. They canceled each other out.
Right.
So they're probably neither are gonna. Which is kind of I don't get it. Like if let's say the Lakers just continue to play good and one of them got to win the NBA. If they were to win every game out and have 70 wins and they have the best record in the league, you got to give the MVP to one of them. You just got to figure out which one. But how do you decipher who's more important? Do you say, oh, well, when LeBron's out, AD does this, is his numbers and the wins, or when LeBron, vice versa, how do you dictate, who's more important, who's more valuable, So that's why I think Giannis is going to win it because, it's just him and, Chris Middleton is, not a superstar, but he's a good player, but
but it's not comparable to.
Yeah, it's not comparable to. He doesn't have another superstar playing with him.
Right.
I think it's between those three guys. I mean, James Harden's going to be in it, but I don't. I know he's having a historic season. I don't think people realize.
It's funny.
How good he's been this year, but.
True. It is historic, no question. I think
Luka too. Luka Doncic too. I totally forgot about Luka.
Well, Luka's still got a lot of years left in this league.
Yeah.
I think he's going to show us a lot of things. And
he'll finish in the top 5 voting, but I think those 4 guys.
For sure. That's a surprising team, also Dallas.
Dallas for sure. But James, James Harden, is it? You think? It's his game's weird because it's not like Kobe, because Kobe was I think it's more exciting than James. James Harden is more of he's not as sexy his game, like the way he's he's a bucket and he gets a lot of his shots, a lot of his points, free throws, and I don't think a lot of people like his style, how he he does that little step back, little pop. I don't think people it's not as appealing. I think that's probably what hurts him a little bit with MVP because, his usage, he's got a high usage rate. I don't think people are, So I don't. But right now, I would say Giannis is definitely number 1 in MVP.
He's for sure. I'm going to agree with that. But my last point on James Harden in this take. I think you give him scoring title, and obviously, and I think Giannis is your MVP easily. I think this is how it gets done, and everyone's happy with the awards because James is just going to keep scoring.
I think they should have like what football does. They should have an offensive player of the year.
You know what? That would be pretty cool.
Football does it. Baseball has batting. You win the batting title, but then they have the MVP. I think. Said. That they have defensive player of the year, might as well do offensive player of the year, and James would have probably won it 5 straight years.
Let's write it up.
Yeah, have the MVP. You could have those 2 awards. Football. I mean, Drew Brees probably should have won an MVP, but he's won 87 offensive player of the years.
Right.
So, I never. That's something. We gotta write to the league office.
Something, yeah. I agree.
So let's get into what I really want to talk about, and that's your beloved, your beloved New Jersey. Oh no, Brooklyn Nets.
Sorry. Nice.
Brooklyn Nets, and the whole Kyrie situation that happened yesterday after the game, talking about that they need to add pieces to the team. And so what was your thoughts on his post-game comments after the loss to the 76ers?
Well, here's my thing about the comment, right? Every beat writer in the state of America and the bias that they have on Kyrie's mental health and they think he's a head case or he's not a good teammate, right? This man was approached after a loss, obviously, to an Eastern opponent a rival now, I guess you could say, after the playoff series with the Sixers, whatever, if you want to make it to be. I'll say it's a rivalry because I don't like the Sixers after last year. However, this man said out in the open that he said we need pieces. It's glaring. It's telling. All this stuff. But you know what? I played the game of basketball, and I know it's not – you can't measure it to the A or the league, but as a leader on a team, sometimes hearing those comments about, we have these guys and we need better pieces, and he doesn't mention your name, sometimes that happens and it lights a fire, as they say, under people's you-know-whats.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they need. No one's talking about that narrative. So I'm going to back Kyrie.
I could definitely see that narrative too. But I understand the other narrative, and you know what the other narrative is that he didn't name a couple guys. I think he didn't mention like Joe Harris, and he didn't mention
Jared
Allen, who are important players to this team and to this future. They're going to be here next year.
Absolutely.
So it can go both ways. It could be, all right, he didn't mention us, so we got to step up our game. Or, we know what happened in Boston. It didn't end well in Boston. He didn't have the best – he didn't show the greatest leadership in Boston.
No,
and
not at all. I'll agree with that.
And, the trade from Cleveland, there's, we could say, well, did he know LeBron was leaving and they he just said, all right, let me get out now. Let me get out. Or, he wanted to go away from LeBron and was tired of not getting the credit. And I could see that. And he needs to get more credit than he got for his Cleveland because he hit the shot. LeBron had the block, but Kyrie doesn't hit the shot. We're not talking about that. That series is over and we're talking about – and he changed – that shot changed the landscape of the league because let's say he misses the shot, the Warriors win the championship. There's no KD to the Warriors.
No.
KD doesn't go to the Warriors after a team
probably stays.
After a team wins back-to-back, That doesn't – after 73-19, he's not going to join a team that just won the championship and had the best record in the league. So that shot changed the whole league. And all people talk about, for the most part, is the block. It was a tremendous block. It was obviously a huge play in the game, but there was a lot more after that, after the block happened. A lot of things happened after that. And like I said, he hit the shot over the MVP of the league, too. You don't think he felt some type of way when he hit that shot because people's, giving Steph all the love.
Of course.
Unanimous MVP. I think he won unanimous MVP that year too.
I believe it was, yeah.
73-9. The greatest season ever. And he hit the shot over that guy, and I'm sure he knows, he feels like he's better than Steph, which he has every right to feel that way. So Kyrie's is kind of his own person. He's kind of he does things to the tune of his own, the tune of his own beat.
Drum.
Yeah, beat that's how it goes. I think yeah. I got drum. Yeah, something like that. But like I said, it can go either way. I don't know how his teammates are gonna handle this. And honestly, it's all how you. It's all gonna be based on how you guys play the rest of this season. Obviously, you're not playing the basketball you want to play. The Nets are not playing.
No.
But
of course not.
Yeah, but like I've said to you, it's about the bigger picture. He's saying he's saying you need another piece. Your piece is coming. Your piece is seven's coming, right? He's 7 now.
Agree.
Seven's coming. That's your piece.
Yes, it's a big.
And he says that was my one thing. Is like, okay, you need that one piece you need is a big piece, and he's coming. You just gotta wait. You don't want to rush him. He's coming. Next season, he's here. So you got that big piece, and you got good pieces. You got Spencer has been was balling, borderline all-star. You know, Jared Allen's put up some 20-20 games. You know,
Correct.
DJ has been a good mentor for him. The best thing that happened was to get DJ for him. I know what it did for Mitchell Robinson last year for the Knicks. That was a huge loss. You know, he made Mitch play at a high level. You know, Joe Harris is a bucket. You know, Joe Harris can shoot. He's one of the best shooters in the league. You know, I don't know about Garrett Temple.
Also,
I don't know why you mentioned Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple's a solid player. I don't know why. Garrett Temple's kind of random.
I'm gonna get to that. And I'll tell you if I can.
But you have solid pieces around you that are gonna be here next year. And I'm sure you can add a piece here and there. You know, a vet, get another vet, try to get another maybe. Karis LeVert too. You got Karis LeVert. You know. So you got pieces. I know you a little hot and cold with Kyrie, but he's on the team. He's a solid player, right? We could say that.
Indeed.
Especially
that's fine.
A role where he'll have especially as a role player come off the bench, because with this team presently constructed, and then you got a KD and this team, you guys are a top 2-3 seed next year. On paper, obviously,
on paper,
things can happen, injuries. Kyrie's injury history. Obviously, KD's come back from an Achilles, so you don't want to, too much of a low early in the season. But, obviously, like I said, the rest of the season is going to dictate, how they're going to take this from this press. They could take it as, all right, we need to kick an ass, and because we can still make the playoffs. Right now, you're the 8th seed.
Right.
You've got a 4-game lead.
Yeah.
And who do you have? You don't really. I mean, are you worried about Chicago or Detroit? Detroit doesn't have Blake. Detroit doesn't have. Drummond might get traded. Chicago is a young team. I know Levine's balled out, but there's no one no one you should be worried about catching you. So right now you're in the play. You're gonna make the playoffs, unless you guys just absolutely fall apart and Kyrie gets hurt or whatever. But even with Kyrie hurt, you guys played good when Spencer was taking over, and Spencer was having he was player of the month, player of the week, a few times he was balling.
Yeah. So that's all fine and good.
So how are you looking at the rest of the season? What do you want this team to look like? What is the goals for this team for the rest of the season?
Here's my thing. Also, I'll say this about the Nets. The Nets last year have had players that are currently on this roster who overachieved. Can we agree?
Yes, that's of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think anyone thought Spencer Dinwiddie would be, this good, like just absolutely killer. And then LeVert had a terrible injury last year and came back and still produced.
Yes. And now we're looking at a team that has added a elite downhill, get to the rim point guard in a system that is based on the 3-point shot.
Yes.
That is the issue with the Brooklyn Nets, and figuring out how to let Kyrie go off and to get people involved in the analytical Kenny Atkinson system of 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
That is the issue. And Kyrie mentioned all those players yesterday because he has a relationship with all of them, and he knows he can trust them.
Yes.
He doesn't have those relationships with a Joe Harris yet, a Jared Allen. And you know why he doesn't have that relationship yet? Because he doesn't play. This is what, 12th game he's played in the season since the injury. He's got to play more. He's got to take these guys by the hand.
But don't you think in a way that Kyrie, his first game back, what is his second game back since missing a few months?
Yes, second game.
I understand his frustration, but why don't you go to Sean Marks and say, we got to add a few guys and keep it in house, so it doesn't look. The optics of this doesn't look good. Whether you could take it either way, or kicking the butt for these guys, or because this can go either way. Like I said, we can be kicking the butt, and then you can go on a win streak, and everything's all good. Or you can have guys internal beef, and then you don't want that, no matter what.
No, not at all.
So
not at all.
in my opinion, he should have just or have a team meeting or something. Kept this in house,
which happened last year.
Because
when they went 8-18, they had the team player only meeting, and all of a sudden they won 20 or something.
And then what happened? You guys balled out, and that win streak. Because when beginning of the last season, I think we all thought you guys would be right where the Knicks are and in the lottery, and we're going to see who's going to get Zion, right? I think we could agree that we didn't expect the Nets to be a playoff team. And then you had us. Then I think we 8-18, right? Around that, right?
Yes.
And then you just went on a tear, and that literally changed the whole landscape of the league, also because you showed that player development. DAngelo Russell went from a solid
shout out to D-Lo.
A solid player to an all-star.
Shout out to him, man.
He's one of the big reasons why your team was able to have success, and the way his maturity. So
for sure,
it's
like I said. You know what's crazy though, Chris?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I would probably trade Karis LeVert and pieces to get DAngelo Russell back on this team.
That dynamic it's going to be tough with the three guards though. That would be tough to work out. Three guys are going to want the ball with Spencer, Kyrie, and DAngelo. Even though there was a part of me that said you guys should have kept you should have kept D'Lo, because I just felt like he was building such great chemistry, and I felt like he fit the Brooklyn mold where you guys are building. And I understand you had to get KD.
You had to do it, right?
To get KD. And we talked about that even with the – I wasn't crazy about getting Kyrie, but if it meant to get KD, you do it. Obviously, I think most teams would do it, and the Nets were willing to do it, unlike the Knicks. They were willing to, all right, whatever we would deal with Kyrie, his injuries, and, his kind of, up and down mood at points. But we know the bigger picture is that we're going to get 7 for next year. That's, you're getting an MVP. You're getting an MVP, So obviously you're going to do it a million times over, and I wish my team would have done it, but that's, it is what it is. They didn't do it. But
for sure.
I really like DAngelo. I thought he just matured, and his game is just I just like his game, and I think he's going to help the Warriors get someone big, because they're going to trade him.
Yes.
Along with the top 5 picks they're gonna get, they might get the number 1 pick, and they're gonna just reload. But
for sure.
So I thought DAngelo he's one of the foundation, the reasons why you got to kick, because his play, especially after the 8-18 start, to play at an all-star level, and the way he played the whole season. I mean, you won game 1 versus the Sixers in the playoffs, right? You played Sixers, right?
Oh, man.
You won game 1. Even though you lost 4 in a row after, but you won game 1. You won a playoff game. There's some teams
on the road,
on the road. It's not easy to do, especially against a good team. So you showed, and I think that's the best thing to happen, because you showed KD, especially KD, that we're building something here. And that's what it's about. It's about winning and showing winning a culture. So I think I think Kyrie should have just, we know how Kyrie is, and he's very open, and he's very, he likes to tell how it is. But I felt like, just step back, talk to the guys internally, go to the management or whatever. Because you don't want to fracture. You know what your reputation is, what happened in Boston, how you left.
You think he cares, though?
Yes, I think he cares.
You do?
I think he cares how his reputation is. I think I think that just the type of player he is. I think he lets it get to him, and I think that's another reason why he chose Brooklyn also, because
I get that point.
The media. I
know why.
If he was a member of the Knicks, he'd be getting absolutely torched. And I think that's an underrated aspect on why he came too. He was a New Jersey Nets fan, grew up, loved the team, and they wanted him. He wanted them. Bam. But another aspect is the media, and he couldn't really handle the media in Boston. And we're not from Boston. I don't know how bad they are, but they're not. We know New York media,
right?
Bad and they're rough.
Yeah, very.
Not easy to deal with,
No,
and I think, especially if you play at the Garden, that media is tough.
For sure.
And I think that's another underrated aspect of him and KD, because they like to go at it with the media. And New York media is not like what KD was dealing with in Oklahoma City and in Golden State, and what Kyrie was dealing with in Cleveland and in Boston. It's not
even.
New York is a different animal.
Yes, it is.
It's a big reason why there's a lot of guys that don't come here, especially to the Knicks, because the media will crucify you. I mean, the Knicks are crucified now and don't even have a star.
Oh man.
And I think that's another.
They will one day.
If he were on the Knicks right now and dealing with this, I think he would have imploded already. He just would have been like his head would have blew up, because he'd be getting killed.
Shut down for the year with that injury. He would have been healthy, and they would have been like, "Oh, I'm a healthy scratch. I'm done."
He would have been like, "All right, I'm just gonna wait till KD comes," and then So I think that's an underrated aspect of why he also chose Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is the second team right now. They have the better team, obviously, but they're still considered as bad as the Knicks have been for the last 20 years. The Knicks still have a stranglehold on the city, but
for sure,
I don't blame him because I don't think I would want to deal with the media every day. Like, oh, why aren't you playing? Why aren't you playing? Why aren't you playing? Why aren't you playing? Oh, you should be playing right now. You should be. Kyrie wouldn't. Kyrie and KD just aren't built like that for that. So that's another reason I don't think they went to the Knicks. But that's for another. Yeah. We've talked about that plenty of times. Personally,
yes, we have
all that, but
my point on the Nets, and we'll end it here on another struggle for my psyche, is the constant addition of these GLeague type guys getting NBA minutes. I'm not talking about Rodion's Kurucs. I think that kid has a future in the league. I'm talking about the TLCs. Yeah. I can't say Cabarrot. Why is he getting minutes?
Yeah.
Johnson Musa. I don't think he's a very good NBA player.
Yeah.
At all. Who else do we keep given minutes to? That's to name a few. I think Kenny has to realize.
I've seen in the last few games Kenny's minutes, the way he's been dishing out minutes lately, has been a little.
It's strange.
Especially when Karras first came back. That first game Karras was back. I understand he hasn't played in a while, but he hurt his thumb. Okay, he didn't hurt a leg. He didn't hurt a knee, a shoulder, where you have to. All right, we don't want to give you too many minutes, so that he hurt a thumb. He was balling. I forgot what game was that. Was that the Heat game?
No, it was the overtime one.
The overtime game against I can't think on top of it. I can't think on top of that. Oh, what team they're playing?
Me neither.
Maybe Minnesota, or was it a Western team, Western Conference team or something?
I believe it was.
Oh no, it was Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And he wasn't on the court the final minutes. Like why?
Final minutes.
He had what? I think he played 20 minutes and had like 22 points, 23 points. He was rolling, and you don't have him. So I'm a big Kenny fan. I love Kenny, and I love a lot San Antonio guy. And to me, if you're a San Antonio guy, you're right for the job. And I wish the Knicks would do something like that, hire a San Antonio guy. Sean Marks too, but I think Kenny's trying to figure out who's fitting in right now, and I think I'm also curious on how he's going to handle it for next season, because obviously that's the bigger picture is next season. I wonder how he's going to, is Spencer going to want to go back to the bench and come off the bench, because he's shown he's a starter, but he's kind of in that Lou Will type, where Lou Will is,
I agree.
he's going to play. he's gonna play at the end of the game. But Spencer, he has a little bit of a clutch gene himself. He's hit some big shots.
Oh, for sure. I think the best starting lineup probably for the Nets next year is probably going to be Kyrie, Spencer, a player that we can't name yet, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Jordan. I think that's going to be their finishing lineup.
The one thing about that is that there's going to have not a lot of defense in the front court. In the backcourt. I mean, with Kyrie and Spencer, they're not big guys either. So,
right.
That's the one thing is, you're gonna get your points. You're gonna get your 40, 45 points combined for both of them, but you might give up 50, 60. Because they're
I think that.
So that's why I think you might have to try to get another guy. A defensive type player. I don't know who that is right now. I can't think of the top of my head who's going to be, a role player who could play defense. But I think that's the only thing is, I would try to tell Spence, if you're cool, come off the bench. I think that's a better role for you. Work with the second team, and you're the scorer for the second team. Let Kyrie and KD take cruise with the first team. Then because obviously KD's not gonna play a lot of minutes. I wouldn't, depending on the his Achilles, I wouldn't expect him to play crazy minutes in the beginning of the season.
Right. I agree.
He'd probably be on a minutes restriction. He'll probably play 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the game. How the flow is going.
True.
But, take over for the second team and just be a bucket in the second team. Do what you keep doing. Just you're going to be with the second team.
It's going to be interesting.
That's Kenny's going to have it. His true test is going to be next season to figure out the rotation for next season.
Correct.
That's going to be his true test. And then he's going to be, if you get off to a bumpy start, I think that's when
Yes.
Yes. It happens with every team that gets star players. When they go off to a rocky start, the coach is going to be on the hot seat. So that's going to be
for sure.
Things is figuring out the rotation.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's thinking about it now. Like, all right, maybe that's why he's trying to figure out, all right, who works here, and who do we have in the G League that for Chicas? Remember, you guys got a lot of guys contracts. You're not going to get any big deals. So you're going to have to get, some guys, veteran guys, and some young guys that they can do. So maybe that's why he's bringing some G League guys. That's what Golden State. You say they got like 87 G League guys, playing.
Yeah, right.
They're trying to see who can possibly be, their second team since they have so many guys,
And they just re-upped Damian Lee for his efforts, I believe, to a 3-year contract.
Yeah. So they got some guys that have actually played good for them,
For sure.
In their roles, But,
totally.
So we'll end it off here. Do you think the Nets will make the playoffs?
I gotta say yes, because I don't think.
Because right now the matchup will be against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's all fine and good. But I don't think the mindset is with that roster is to give up. I think they're just in a rut.
I think you have to keep fighting, because I think that just brings a better look. Because you can easily just say, we'll tank and, let's get a lottery pick and then maybe we could flip it to get another good piece, But
you never know.
I think it's better. It's just a better.
It's a better look.
Better look to just keep playing. I think you guys should make the playoffs. I mean, you shouldn't be worried about anyone behind you, and just continue.
Right. I think
whatever happens this season happens. That's how you gotta look at it. And just
I was
if
just gonna say that.
you win a playoff game, it doesn't matter. The season, like I said, it's all about making sure Seven's healthy.
Right.
That's the most important thing. And he's done some work.
I'll tell you. I will tell you though this. I am very happy that they made the signings they had to make, and it's a good thing as a fan to see two guys like that come to your team. Like it's never happened before for us.
No. I think
for a very long time.
I think that's what people are so like shocked about is that two guys like that, they went to New York, but they didn't go to the New York that
Right.
is it's like Kawhi and
LA.
it's not the same because the Lakers had LeBron and they had AD already.
Correct.
But it would be like Kawhi if let's say the Lakers didn't have anyone and Kawhi chose the Clippers. You know, it's like he went to LA, but you would think, oh, he went to the Lakers. If you just ask the casual who just doesn't really follow like we do, and they're like, if I said, yo, KD and Kyrie, they went to New York, and you're like, oh, they went to the Knicks? Okay, they had the guard. No, they went to Brooklyn. That doesn't happen. That would never be.
What? Yeah.
It doesn't really happen. That's like saying, you know, Mike Trout went to New York, and you're like, oh, shit, he's a Yankee? No, he went to the Mets. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that's how you got it. That's what you have. That's what shows is that about winning. And,
for sure. And
having the mindset of your team is like, you know, we're gonna try to win, and that if that's whatever free agents like, that's what we're gonna show them. We're building a good culture, and that's what you have to do is win. These players, especially a guy like Kevin Durant and Kyrie who have won championships, you know. Kevin Durant is as elite as you can be, you know.
Yeah.
He was at one point last year. He was the best player. He was better. Like he was the best player in the league before he popped his Achilles. He was going to win that championship. He doesn't get hurt.
Yes, he was.
They're going to win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. He's healthy. They're winning the championship.
Yep.
You know, the Warriors went 73-9, and they said, we need you. Because that man LeBron is going to beat us. Because LeBron, if LeBron had Kyrie the first year, they would have beaten the Warriors.
Yep.
So they said, we need you. I don't care that I'm a 2-time MVP. I don't care if Klay Thompson is, you know, one of the best scorers in the league. Draymond's defensive player of the year. Guess what? We need you. We know we beat you. We know you're you know, you up 3-1 against us and we beat you, but we need you to come here. And he hit big shots against Bron in his face. He showed he was the best player in the league. So, yeah, you know, they
showed hope
that
reoccurs. I just hope that reoccurs.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that player where his whole game is athleticism. If he was a Giannis, per se, who depends on his athleticism and just bullying, like in the post, then I might be worried. But he pulls up and he's not gonna lose his shot. You know, that's what I'm saying. No. You know, it's gonna take him a while to get back from Achilles because it's an Achilles. You know, Achilles is a tough injury. But his game is not centered around, you know, attacking. He can, obviously. He's one of the best to get into the hole. But he's 7 foot, and he can just shoot over anyone. He shot over LeBron in the game 3 like it was nothing 2 years ago. Right in his face. He did it last year, too, 2 years ago. In his face. Yep. It doesn't matter if Achilles or not. You know, he could probably do that right now. Right now. Imagine. 7 foot is 7 foot. 7 foot and the shot like that, nobody can. He's unstoppable. You know, pull up,
for sure.
Man, jump shot, fade away. You're not stopping him. He has one of the most unstoppable offensive games we've ever seen. This dude could I've always said he could probably average 40 if he really wanted to. If he said, "Yo,"
if he wanted to, yeah.
If he just went crazy, like he can average 40.
I'm not trying to be biased, but I am. He has always been like probably one of my favorite players. I was rooting for him against LeBron.
Those are my 2 favorite players with KD and Kyrie. Now, obviously for certain reasons, like I don't root for them as much. But before we get off, let's talk about my Knicks. All right, let's talk about them. Okay.
Sure. I got like 4 minutes left.
All right, quick.
Yeah.
So what the hell do you think they should do? what do you think the direction should be? Because obviously, the free agent way is not the way. Obviously, there's no free agents. AD's a free agent.
No,
he's going to go back to the Lakers. So that means there's no one. Do you make a splash? Do you make a splash trade and just go all out, or do you just be like, okay, let's do it the natural way. Let's draft and draft smart.
Honestly, that's what it's going to have to be. But are people going to be patient with the Knicks?
That's the number one thing.
I don't think they know how.
Obviously, the last 20 years have not been good. They have the worst record. They have the worst record since going to the finals in '99.
Mm-hmm.
The worst record.
I didn't know that.
So I know it's hard to be patient. I know it's hard to be patient, and patience is not something Knicks fans can do, but you have to be, because there's no alternative.
Right.
There's no alternative. Like there's not like you could wait, till. I mean, there's this fantasy about Giannis, but if you're Giannis, why the hell would you leave? If Giannis wins a championship, let's say he wins a championship, there's no chance. There's not even a chance he would leave. Unless he loses in the first round, and they lose, then they get swept. It would not going to happen. But I just don't see no possible way, And this thing is like, his brand in New York. Obviously, everything's bigger in New York. But as you see, Kevin Durant made a whole lot of money in Oklahoma.
Sure
LeBron
did.
James made a whole lot of money in Cleveland, Ohio.
Sure did.
So if your big name's big enough, like Giannis, you can make money in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter if you go to New York or not.
No.
Katie's agent is the biggest Knicks fan in the world. Rich Kleiman, biggest Knicks fan in the world.
Yep.
That had nothing. Did that make him want to go to the Knicks? Obviously not.
Nope.
So
right.
That was always that thing. Oh, Kleiman wants to work for the Knicks. He's a Knicks fan. KD has a lot of business in New York. That doesn't mean nothing. He wants to hoop. What's the main thing?
Yeah.
You want to be able to hoop, enjoy where you're hooping, not deal with the BS, and that's it.
Play with other guys.
And with the Knicks, there's all that distraction. The front office is a disaster. Okay? Mm-hmm. The coaching hires have been just – you get Fizdale. You get Fizdale because he's a recruiter, right? And I say that in quotes, a recruiter. And he's good with these players. And then when you don't get the players, you realize – oh my God, he's not good at this coaching thing. He's not a good coach. Everyone loves the assistant coaches, right?
Yeah.
Even when I'm playing basketball, I always love my assistant coaches.
Yep.
But doesn't mean they're going to be good head coaches. Fizdale showed
absolutely not.
He couldn't coach. He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Right.
Even though he had a bad roster and the roster was poorly constructed, we all know that. You got 97 power forwards.
Yes.
But, it's better than what they had the year before. And they just I think they should just we got to do it natural.
Yeah.
But also you got to draft the right players too.
Yes, that's true. But the only thing I could see them doing, because I think the Julius Randle signing has not been in favor of the Knicks and Julius Randle, I think Julius Randle is the one that's going to possibly get moved for something that they can't refuse moving forward.
It's got to be a big deal. It's got to.
Yeah, I agree. But it's got to help get out of his contract and not take in much salary, but just about the same.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to fill that need. Off the top of my head, it's got to be someone that has.
It's got to be a big. It's got to be like a Karl-Anthony Towns, or I think if it's not a big name, then the Knicks would be doing their just self in service, like the service. Like it just doesn't make sense if it's not an all-star. That can, because that's the only way you could possibly get this this rebuild built quicker, is if you get an all-star.
I think it's Blake.
What happened?
I think it's Blake Griffin.
Oh, he's damaged goods. He's damaged,
But
bro.
would you be surprised?
No, with the Knicks, no. That would be that'd be the ultimate Knicks thing is getting Blake Griffin. Like the Knicks would probably trade for John Wall right now. You know,
yeah, you're right. Hey, listen, is that a bad move?
Yeah. Do you see his contract?
Sure, but
he might have him and Blake have the two worst contracts in the league.
Yeah. That's why sometimes you got to swallow it first and take on the bad contract, whatever's attached to it, and then move from there. I don't know. Things happen.
I'm not crazy about, getting into to signing, these bad contracts like Tobias Harris got like $200 million. Like, why do you have to sign guys like that aren't max players like that? Like, obviously John Wall was an all-star type, but he was never worth $200 and whatever million he got.
Right.
You see what its injury history, but who knows what the Knicks are going to do? Obviously, they're going to be back in the lottery. Now, obviously, the NBA, maybe the NBA gods will, because it's not as hyped this year, and like the Zion fantasy isn't there, that the gods will let them get the number 1 pick this year. But they'll mess that up too. So they'll draft
LaMelo Ball, baby.
They'll draft DAngelo. Don't mess up the part, and they'll draft DAngelo instead.
Don't say that. They would burn down the place.
I like LaMelo Ball, but him in New York, oh my God, that's disastrous. That guy don't play defense either.
I can imagine. But to answer your original question, I think they do it the old-fashioned way.
I think that's the best way to go. At this point, you struck down free agency again.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I feel like that's the NBA gosh is saying, do it the natural way. But they don't do it good the natural way,
No, they don't.
Guys, if they passed up, and the player development has been. Listen, they got Mitch Robinson in the second round. That's good, but they don't know how to draft in the first round. You're good. No. You're good at drafting second round picks, but you don't know how to do the first round's important.
It's pretty beneficial.
It's pretty beneficial, especially when it's a top 5 pick. You already traded away Porzingis. But we can go all day talking about the Knicks, but
we can for sure.
But that's gonna wrap up the show, guys. Mondo, appreciate you for coming on. Good talk.
Likewise, thank you.
This was fun. I'm definitely gonna have you on the show again. But
awesome.
Mondo, appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Guys, thank you for listening. Go subscribe to the Off the Ball podcast on Instagram, Twitter. Mondo, you got any plugs, social media plugs you want to put?
I'm just going to reiterate what you said.
Go follow this man. He loves his Nets.
Yes, you can. But listen, thank you for the time and asking me to come on. It's a pleasure. I always wanted to do something like this. I can talk for hours, days, weeks. And I'm here for the next one whenever you need it, guy.
All right, brother. Take care, all right? I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, my man.
All right, bro. Peace, guys. Take care.